Hello everyone, and welcome to Maximizing Recall with QUIZLET. QUIZLET, as you're probably familiar with, is a software that's online, it's free, and it's very effective in for helping students remember facts. But even more than that, and what some students probably don't realize is that the options within QUIZLET are almost perfectly designed to help you maximize your ability to remember stuff. So we're going to go over a quick system that hopefully will help you use QUIZLET as effectively as possible. And here's a set in QUIZLET that my students are using for an activity called President's Bowl. And this is where QUIZLET is most effective because the objective of the game is literally to remember as much as possible about the presidents. So this is remembering facts, and that's still really important in school today. So step one, we're going to use what's called the print function, and in order to do that, we actually don't have it available to us up on these options. We need to come down here to these three buttons and hover over that, and we see print. If we click on print, we have a few choices. We want to use print to get an overview of all the information, start thinking about what it is in its entirety and how much of it we know already. You could use a few of the options over here. I think everything but the 3x5 index card is appropriate. You can use the glossary, you can use small flashcards or large flashcards. Whatever works best for you, but it should be something that allows you to look at everything relatively quickly and go through it to get a beginning idea of how much you need to know and what the whole thing is about. So now we're going to go back to the set and look at step two, which is the learn function. Over here we see learn. The learn function presents you with multiple choice questions. It uses the clues and sets up the answers in a multiple choice fashion. So multiple choice uses a type of memory called recognition. Recognition is easier than what's called recall because in recognition you have a clue and the answer in front of you. So you just need to recognize which one of the answers is the correct answer. In this case, Woodrow Wilson proposed the 14 points. So that's easier than me just having to think about which president did that on my own. Here's another clue, and we get to see the answers. That's recognition. We're going to use this first because not only is it easier, but it's also creating a neural connection between the clue and the answer. So take your time as you do this and actually think about the clue and the answer together when you're using learn. We'll move on to step three. After using learn, we move on to matching. Match is exactly what it says it is. It gives you clues, in this case, or it gives you answers like Woodrow Wilson, and it gives you, let's try the Teapot Dome scandal is a clue, and Warren Harding is the answer. Similar to multiple choice, we get to see the clue and the answer together, but it's even better. Now, what we can do is, and I recommend not matching these up instantaneously if you're still thinking about it. If you're not 100% sure, put them next to each other so that you see the clue and read it, and you see the answer and read it for a second or two to create that visual cue between the clue and the answer. And so Harding and the Teapot Dome scandal. And let's see, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, before he was president, went to Harvard, governor of New York, and assistant secretary of the Navy. Get the answer and the clue together for a second or two before closing it in order to give yourself that visual connection between the two of them. So just to review real quickly, step 1 was to use the 3 dots, go down and print and get an overview. Step 2 was to use learn, multiple choice. And step 3 was matching. The one thing I didn't mention about matching is after you do it a couple times, try to get faster. Speed does matter eventually, and getting faster should actually improve your recall over time. Step 4, now we use the flashcards. The important thing about the flashcards is this star. So, who was president during World War I? Another thing that you need to be aware of in Quizlet are the options. President during World War I is the clue, and if I suppose I know this, and I click on it, Woodrow Wilson. I knew that. I'm not going to star it because I already knew it. Let's go to the next clue. Proponent of the League of Nations. Now, I happen to know that that's also Woodrow Wilson, but what if you didn't? If you didn't know it, star it, because that will become important as we will see. Let's go to the next one. Amendments 16, 17, 18, and 19 passed. So a lot of amendments passed during this presidency. I'm not sure about that, so I'm going to star that, and I'm going to click and Woodrow Wilson again. So star the ones you don't know, and now we are going to options. We can choose, instead of studying all of the flashcards, just the starred ones. This is really important because you don't want to keep looking over the things you already knew. For a couple reasons. One, it takes you longer, and two, it takes away some of your concentration and mental energy from the things you need to learn because you keep reading the things you already knew. Students and people do this all the time. Don't keep studying the things you know. Focus on the things you don't know. Quizlet makes this really easy by choosing starred, and I'm only going to study the ones that I starred. In this case, only 2 items. Proponent of the League of Nations. Oh, now I remember. Woodrow Wilson. If I knew it, I unstar it by clicking up here. So another option that we didn't talk about and we didn't need to use right now is answer with. We had that correctly. We wanted to answer with the definition, but if it wasn't working out well, you could answer with the term. If the questions don't look right to you, try changing this from term to definition or vice versa. So let's go back to our options. We started with print under the 3 dots. We went to learn, which was multiple choice. Then we went to match. And finally, flashcards. Under flashcards, we starred the ones we don't know. And then later on, we can choose using options to just study the ones that we don't know. After that, just keep repeating steps 2 through 4. That's learn, match, and flashcards until you know them all. Come back after an hour, come back after a day, come back after a week, and do it again. And if you're using match in particular, try to get faster. That will prove something called automaticity, which is when you know something instantaneously, you don't really even have to think about it anymore. That will save some of your mental energy and can be helpful later on. Last thing, just reiterate this. I'm going to choose this, and it said no, there aren't enough terms to play match because it's asking me to do the starred one, so I'll go to options and I'll study all of them and start the game. There's a timer over here. Just to make it more fun and again to build automaticity, try to do this as fast as possible. The fair deal. Where's Harry Truman? Quick. Okay, at this point you already have those visual connections. Teapot Dome scandal, Warren Harding, Franklin Roosevelt, CCC. Policy was the New Deal, Franklin Roosevelt. Fireside Chats, Franklin Roosevelt. And all these were almost Franklin Roosevelt. But try to go faster. It'll make it more fun, and it will also build automaticity. So those are the steps. that you ought to use. One more time real quick. Start with the 3 dots, use print to get an overview, go to learn, then to match, then to flashcards. Do it again and again and again. When you get good, start doing match as fast as you can. And that should maximize your recall in as fast or short a time as possible. Thanks and good luck.